Happy Friday. What are we playing? So, a lot of people on YouTube have actually been telling me how absolutely busted Grief is. I disagree. However, I'm not above trying it. I don't think we're going to have the best results, but we'll see how many times we grief our opponents out of the game. This is black-white, or very close to mono-black Reanimator here in Modern. What's really cool about this list is this is pretty much exactly what ended up beating us. Now, we got griefed a whole bunch that time, and it happens. But what's interesting is this has the exact same things that I saw in terms of the sideboard. But we'll get into that in a moment. Basically, what this list is trying to do is trying to persist something from the graveyard. And we can get things in the graveyard by unmarked grave, or them simply dying, or we pitch them with things like Collective Brutality. What do we want to reanimate? Grief. That's a fine reanimation. We have Archon of Cruelty as well, which is one of our number one things to reanimate now in Vesperlark. And Sarah's Emissary, basically a version of an Iona, just a little bit different, not legendary. What else are we trying to do? We have Malakir Rebirth, Malakir Rebirth. This is basically, I like to call it like an Undying, basically, but it's just basically going to bring a creature back. Yeah, basically brings them back. And we have Ephemerates, and the idea here is that you can evoke Grief and then Ephemerate, or you can also do this Rebirth and basically get a double down on Grief, which is pretty cool. If you get the Ephemerate, you actually get a triple down. So even if you pitch a Thoughtseize to Grief and the Ephemerate, things are looking reasonably good for you, completely destroying their hand. Now, opponents can interact with Grief before the Ephemerate goes off. We'll see how often that comes up. That's the list, though. It's basically trying to really do things with Grief and Archon, make our opponents discard cards. You could almost feel like it's a slight rack kind of style here, with an upside of we're reanimating some creatures. Sideboard-wise, though, we do have a Stoneforge package, and what's interesting is it's not even main board. It's just Stoneforge, Kaldra, Batterskull. It's basically, if we have any inclination they're going to bring in a bunch of graveyard hate, we can switch to black-white, remove basically the 5 huge reanimation spells, even Unburial Rites. That's 6, 4, and 2, and it's an easy swap in, swap out. If our opponents are not going to go after our graveyard, though, we have things like Sire of Insanity to bring in, which we've tried before. Another way to discard things like crazy. And then Singleton Ashen Rider. I'd like to see more Ashen Riders, like even one main, but we'll see how it goes. Other than that, we've got our own Kaya to deal with little creatures and 1-drops and 0-drops, small little spells, and the graveyard, I suppose. And we have Kaya's Guile, lets us interact with our opponent's graveyard, gain life. Very versatile card. I think it's one of the best command style cards out there, next to K Command at the 3 slot. Prismatic Ending in here as well. Pretty cool card. Gets around Chalice, does the cool things. And with that, let's go play Magic. Let's go play Magic. I'm pretty sure I do not. So we need to go get... We need to go get some tickets. Let's go get some tickets for tonight. How's everyone's Friday doing? That should be enough. Hopefully everything is smooth going for you, Grace and Fire. I'll trade here. Get a few. Just Ducky? What's up, Snoring Dad? How's it going? Tickets. How many? 24, probably. $32? Nearly 3 times? Maybe I should give more tickets or more chests back. Oh, that's right. Ragavan's in treasure chest, probably. Not confirmed. I don't know what's in the treasure chests. All right, let's go ahead and get the list back up here briefly. We're going to be playing this list, so we're good to go once we end. And now let's head to a league. Simple, right? We're not playing the Esper Reanimator one. We're playing the black-white one first. Then we'll talk about the Esper one that we spotted as well. Let's go. Let's play a league. That was quick to get those tickets. So the Stoneforge package, the Grief package. I would guess that the hands I'm looking for are 1 to 2 lands and then some variation of Grief or Persist Unmarked, way to ditch something to the graveyard, something like that. You have missed the entire introduction. That's it. I'm not going over the list anymore. You missed it, you missed it. Too bad. There's the deck list. Let's go. 0-0 our opponent. We are 0-0, and we get to play first. Now, I would say this is a 0 drop, but it's not. There's a rebirth here. I have a rebirth, but I don't have really another land. Probably need to be able to get 2 lands. I do have the Grief as well. Let's go ahead and mulligan this first one. All right. Well, I have black and I have white. I could get rid of Thoughtseize, Grief, and Ephemerate it. So we'll see how busted this is. I could even get rid of the other Grief and keep like, nah, I probably want to keep both Griefs here. Just get rid of the Thoughtseize. All right, let's see how busted this really is. So Grief, going after my opponent. I'm gonna go ahead and Ephemerate. Do all that. ETB again, double Thoughtseize here. All right, so Elementals is what we're playing against. I get to take 2 of these, so I think I just take the Utopia Sprawl and probably just the Renin 6, right? The Risen Reef is kind of scary, but I can get that next. So Renin 6 here, and go, opponent. What's up, Rainbow? Shock's in here. Red mana gets a Flamekin Harbinger. It'll be placed on top. Voice of Resurgence is the choice. We'll be rebounding here. I'd probably go ahead and do this to get rid of the Risen Reef. I'll get to Omnath later. All right, so they're gonna play the Voice. I'd love this to be around longer, but I think I want the black land more. We'll just pass turn. After all, we could flood out here and end up casting Grief. Misty here, Voice of Resurgence is probably going to be played. It's, after all, pretty much the only thing they've got going on. And our turn. Talk about flooding out here. Let's go ahead and punch in for 3. See if they want to trade with us at all. And we do flood out here, so I'm just going to hard cast Grief next turn. I think this is a good example of like, okay, so we may have them. At the same time, we just have a 3-2 here. I'm going to get to steal Omnath, but aside from stealing Omnath, it's like, okay. Windswept was the draw. We can crack this and go get a Godless Shrine. I have Blood Crypts. Oh, that's for Sire. I'm not going to show him that color. Opponent hits us for 3. Okay. It's not too bad. Let's go ahead and just hard cast a Grief here, and then I'll have Ephemerate to do like an instant speed Thoughtseize type of thing. Attack for 3 and pass turn. All right. Well, I get to do the Ephemerate Grief thing here on the very first game. Not boding well for my argument that it doesn't happen very often. In for 3 we go. Down to 8. We are presenting 6 here, and this is a fetch, which would be a 7th point. Flooded Strand. Whatever they got, they could probably play. Just a Utopia Sprawl. So we're going to stop on their next draw phase. So say they can't attack us at this point. Okay. In for combat. We just let whatever die here. If they double block. It's fine. They get a token, we get a land. Draw a step, Ephemerate. See what they ended up picking up. Ooh. There you go. Opponent interacts with us. Ends up getting rid of Grief here, so we don't pick it up. Could have used the Ephemerate as a protection spell, I suppose, but we wanted to get rid of an Omnath or anything big that they could have drawn. All right. Okay. Just pass turn here. Nothing happening. We drew a card that's not really castable. Getting hit by a 1/1 currently. No worry, no worry. Rainbow, I don't think you should stay up too late. After all, you're not feeling well. I'm gonna pass turn here. I could discard the Bright Climb here. This is strictly just a 1/1. It's not instant speed, we'll F6. Here we go with the whole top deck and see who wins, and they've lightning bolted us so far. Going down to 12. Why sleep? Who needs sleep? Who needs sleep? Let's go ahead and hard cast another Grief here. Take a peek. Just a cavern. Sleep is overrated. Sleep will help you get better. Just saying. But you do whatever you want to. All right, what do we get here? Deputy detention. Teferi. All right, they could bounce Grief. I suppose that's what they want to do here, because they don't want to be attacked by it and hope that they don't draw something that I can then take. Caverns played. Name's Elemental. 1 card in hand. Fetching. Wish we had a little bit of red. A little bolt action. 3 mana. 4 mana. Omnath. Alright, looks like I'm going to Bone Shard this and then take a peek at whatever that last card is. In for 2. I definitely don't want an Omnath to stick around. Gaining life is dangerous. Let's think here. So I have a Night Whisper, draw 2 cards, and you lose 2 life. If I do that, I could hard cast Grief. Can't really necessarily get the card. It may just be better to save the Night Whisper for next turn. Let's see what my opponent's doing. What'd you get? Solitude's a good one to get rid of. And then let's just go ahead and discard a card. I don't think I gotta go after Teferi here. Let's go ahead and snag the Omnath and get rid of the Bright Climb. And pass the turn. My opponent's got a 1/1 elemental and a Teferi, and top decking they go. We have a 3/2, which is not quite lethal, but it's close. What'd you get, opponent? Voice of Resurgence? Risen Reef? Risen Reef. All right. So my opponent's got two things. I got a 2/2 and a 1/1. They look at the top card. The land, it just comes into play. This card does too much. Look at the top card of your library. If it's a land card, you may put it into the battlefield tapped. If you don't, put the card into your hand. So it went to hand. My opponent's got 4 mana. So my opponent more than likely could cast it. Does not attack for 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Probably Night's Whisper here. See what else we can draw. I take 2 to do this, but drawing some cards here is probably important. It's an Unburial Rites. Can't quite cast that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This would be 6. I'd probably hold the Marsh Flats for the time being. I wonder if there's a world where they kill me if I attack. Attack and I trade with these is probably just fine, especially with an Unburial. Oh. They're okay going to 1. Okay. I'm not going to worry about putting the Marsh Flats and just look like I've got 3 good cards in hand. 2 cards in my opponent's hand. They did not block. Can they make this large enough to kill me? Teferi's going up. 2 cards. 2 cards. Opponent is combat. Okay, I'm going to 5. Don't be bolt. Okay. I feel like I just reanimate a Grief here. I can't do Ephemerate at instant speed. Let's see if they've got something weird here. Then I know not to attack because they can bounce 1 and kill me possibly. So take a peek. What do you got? Well, it's white, whatever it is. So we're not misplaying here because of the Ephemerate, because of Wonderful over there. Considers the white mana, floated it. Now it's white green. Now it's all kinds. Solitude? Now blue. Bant colors. 4 colors. Now we're paying costs. Prismatic Ending at instant speed here for the Teferi. All right. So they bounce this and I'm taking some damage. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm gonna play the Marsh Flats here. I get to block unless they do the Teferi. If they play 2 elementals, we lose. Teferi stopping us from doing our tricks. Puts Kahira to hand. I guess Kahira does it, right? No, I'm blocking. I'm at least blocking something. So I'm blocking this one. Basically, I need a way to get this to the graveyard, like a bone shard here. And if I get a bone shard, I can Unburial Rites behind it. Oh no, because they... Hold on. So now I do fetch because Teferi is no longer here. Oh my gosh, I don't have another white source. So the deck has 4 white sources that are fetchable. Oh my gosh. That's what we call losing, because this is the first time playing the list. So what do we want to do against this opponent? Really, they're just a bunch of creatures, and they're relatively large creatures. They also have Teferi. So Sarah's could get that. Are we changing much here? Prismatic Ending is going to be hard to get most of their stuff. They can get stuff on 1 and 2. I don't know if I want the Stoneforge package. Do I need to worry about having Batterskull in play at some point to gain life? Probably not with the Archon. Archon makes them sacrifice things. I think it's just send it back. They might go after the graveyard a little bit here. But kind of like we just did. We didn't really need the graveyard. All right. I don't think there's a change. We don't have any like weird board wipes or anything like that. Well, this doesn't really do anything. I think we mulligan this. Okay. I can get rid of a fetch land here. We can grief with an unmarked grave. Take a peek at what's going on here. Steal something, plan to persist, or unmarked grave. So they have their own ephemerate. We have a Fury I'm not worried about because it does 4. Don't think I care about the ephemerate. I'd probably just take the Solitude. I'll take the Solitude. We'll go fetch our... I'm a little surprised not to see maybe 1 Triome in this list. Godless Shrine, pass turn. All right, so I guess Unmarked Graves where I'm going to start. They're going to play a Flamekin and put something on top, and so I'm going to know everything they're doing here. And we know they're not going to really probably draw anything that I'm too worried about here. So it's just going to be a persisting, probably an Archon would be best. There's a Voice of Resurgence. All right, I think it's Archon. Because this would be a 6/6. I could choose creatures at that point. Then I just have to dodge to Fairy. 6, 12, 18 for 3 turns. And if I play Archon, it's a 5/5. Make some discard, I draw cards. Archon seems maybe a little bit better. So we'll go put Archon in graveyard. I don't know. I could see an argument for Sarah's since they probably only have about 3 answers to it. Prismatic Ending could get it, but we don't see it over here. And then I guess like back-to-back Fury or even a Solitude doesn't get rid of the Sarah. Plains was drawn at some point. Voice in play. I believe I need more black as well, even though we ran out of white last game. Let's play the black side here. Let's go ahead and persist. Archon. Oh, it's too high. Never mind. I'm thinking it's like 4 mana. It's not. It's whatever. Opponent sacrifices Voice here. Discards Risen Reef. Gonna use Ephemerate as a protection spell for Archon here. This looks really good. It's not like sacrificing is really gonna do anything here, so the protection is probably the best. Especially if they throw out like a Solitude trying to get this. Let's bounce it and be like, woohoo! Good stuff. Not to mention, this is essentially a little bit better than a Boros Charm right now. Across the 2 turns. No blue mana. Temple Garden played. Tapped. No attack either. Okay. It's not a bad follow-up here. Let's go ahead and go combat. Swing. Archon strong. Helixia. Draw cards. Make them discard. Sacrifice creatures. It's a solid card. Tough to beat. Fury. It's gone. In for 5. And I'm just going to slap down a Marsh Flats here. Oh. Okay. Ephemerate doesn't work on my creature. Not that they would want to bounce mine at this point. Looks good. Another Archon coming. That would be... You could discard it to Grief. My opponent likes to go get that Voice. So I have to just, like, beat a Voice, it seems. What if I put a Sire of Insanity in here as just an option to go get? I mean, at this point, it's almost just worth it to take one of my Archons out. I could even put in the Ashen Rider just to have another option at this point. My opponent knows I'm the graveyard deck now. I wonder if they bother with our graveyard. I kind of want to toss a Sire in here for fun. Let's try it out. Again, I don't think I need to be doing the Stoneforge package. I will do that when I'm pretty confident they're going to go after a graveyard. My opponent still can. Man, I think I keep this. This is hard not to keep. I just don't know what the sequencing is. I can't see getting rid of this, and I think I want to play Rebirth and almost just Grief pitching Thoughtseize for a freebie. And then I could persist, or I can unmark Grave then. Persisting would let me tag them again, kind of like playing this. Let's see if we top deck a land. I do. Holy crap. Okay, so now I Grief, but I do this off of a persist now because now I have this card. Go get our Godless Shrine. And I'm getting rid of... I think it's just get rid of hot seas, but maybe it's not. I'm keeping, all right, I'm keeping this, I'm keeping my swamp, I'm keeping a persist. Anything left of this, I keep this because I'm casting it. I guess I just get rid of a persist. Because I have a backup one. Okay. So I get a double down on this. So doubling down, we have endurance, endurance. I mean, I just take both endurances because I'm going to do Unmarked Grave into persist, right? And then I can Thoughtseize away the Teferi. By endurance. By endurance. Wow. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4, 5. Because I don't have an idea of one of their cards. Combat. Hit for 3. Unmarked Grave here. Unmarked Grave goes and gets... It's got to just be Archon again, right? Slap Archon in there. I get to Thoughtseize, then persist. It's looking pretty good. They'll do maybe something here with Teferi. Looking pretty strong. You're telling me this is a strong list? Huh? What? Huh? All right, opponent. Found your land. Cool. Got a name. Elemental. Got it. It does nothing here. Dang, I have an Ephemerate now too. Let's go Thoughtseize first. See what we're playing against. They didn't play the Teferi, so I feel like they've got like another endurance or something like that. Solitudes. Getting rid of Omnath. What's weird here is they could Ephemerate. And I'd prefer to persist. They can hold... No, I have the Thoughtseize coming, so I Thoughtseize away the Ephemerate here, leave it with Teferi, persist the Archon, right? I don't think I need to exile here. I think I want the Archon, because if they go to Ephemerate this anyway, they've got to do it now before the Evoke happens. And I'm still getting the Thoughtseize, then I Thoughtseize the Teferi, and then this is in play, and I then persist the Archon. I think there's no reason to Ephemerate here. Ephemerate just ends up getting their Ephemerate, and they exile my creature. No. They're gonna just Ephemerate thinking they're keeping this creature, which is fine. But it doesn't do anything extra here. And now I Thoughtseize the Teferi and then get the Archon back. And then the Archon persisting here, as long as they don't get anything that does something weird to this Archon for one turn. Archon makes them sack this. I draw a card. We're good to go. They would need something right there to like bounce my Archon. They need a backup Teferi. Not even a Solitude works there. And then the next turn I just have Ephemerate. Dude. That's powerful. That's powerful. We were talking a little bit about Vesperal Arc Reanimator maybe needing to ditch blue for maybe red. I mean, maybe you just ditch blue all the way and you do something like this. Who knows? Who knows? So Grief did a lot there. I think in game, what was it, game 2? we put a lot on grief. I could have turned into they bolt that at any point because they're on the play and we're just in trouble. Always great content. Thank you. Thank you, Gilded Gosling. Welcome back 3 months. One data point though. Grief did well. Never got Priest in play. That's fine. Really, it was Archon kind of taking it away, right? That's what we're gonna assume. All right, let's play first. This will be easier on the mana base. All right, we have Yorion. Yorion typically means creatures of the taxes variety. I do not have a grief in this hand, but I've got kind of the pieces I need to get stuff in. Not to mention that if I top deck something, they have like a creature bone shard and play priest or persistent. So I think we keep this. It's not blazing lightning fast or anything, but can't always go for grief. It's a solid 7. Let's go. Oh, and I'm on the play. Didn't even realize that. Windswept Teeth for my opponent. We'll just get a Godless Shrine. Okay. Let's go ahead and get an unmarked grave here. I'm just gonna go get an Archon at this point. Go get an Archon. It's in the graveyard. We're good to go. Persistent. Temple Garden. Colors that do mess with graveyards. Razor Verge Thicket. Plays a Wall of Omens. Okay. I believe that I just persist here. Persist Archon. It's another draw here. Kills a wall. This is like the Bant Ephemerate list, possibly. While we have the Ephemerate in hand, I'm going to go ahead and just get a Plains so I don't have any weird fetching, timing craziness. Thalia is here. Like, I think this is the more powerful thing to be doing. Just like, hey, there's Archon and I have a way to defend it. Good luck, opponent. And opponent concedes. Keeps a 2-lander, I will assume. All right, this list could go after our graveyard. So this list scares me a little bit with my Archon plan. I think I don't want the Burial here. I probably want the Sarah, but maybe not all the Archons. We talked about we could just take basically this out and bring Stoneforge in. Some of me wants Prismatic Ending, some of me does not. I think for this list, it's probably okay to try to do Stoneforge Batterskull Cauldron Complete. I don't think I want to go crazy here, but I could also take this portion of the package out, which is the Priest and Burial Rites. I could also trim maybe 1 unmarked grave and like 3 priests, leaving just a touch of it in there in case I do end up stumbling into it. Gifted subs. So this one's a little bit tough because I'm not sure where I want to go with this. Maybe I leave the, you know, the priest in or something, or the unmarked grave, and take 1 ephemerate out. It's tough to say, but I think I'm going to cut a little bit of this like lower end here. Let's do 1 more priest. Let's get rid of a Night's Whisper. Let's try that. I like the Collective Brutality. It kills small creatures here. I know I'm going to need probably ways to get rid of, say, Thalia, but Thalia is not that frightening. I'm more afraid of a Rest in Peace kind of effect killing me here. Ooh, dang. Just Thoughtseize Self persists. We'll keep this. We're going to probably Thoughtseize them, but you never know. There's a Noble. Collective Brutality looking good against that. It is a cool list. Bone Shards would have been great there. Let's go ahead and take a peek. There's an Ephemerate and an Endurance. Cool. We'll kill the endurance. Kill the endurance, plan to collect a brutality 2 mode, peek and kill. Let's see what happens. Temple Garden in play. 3 drop. Yorion to hand. Ephemerates here that I'm going to steal. You could full switch. You could. Wow. It's exiles, right? Yeah, exile black card. I don't want to exile. We can get to Yorion later. We'll get to Yorion later. 2 modes. Check and kill. We'll get rid of Archon here. We're going to get rid of that Ephemerate. The only card we didn't know about is a Solitude. Okay. We got a Solitude stuck in here. I want to draw a black card off the top. If I can grief away the Solitude and then Archon. That'd be great. Temple Garden tapped, 1 unknown. Black card here. No dice. I'm going to wait 1 more turn here, as I think the payoff of getting an Archon that resolves and doesn't get put away is better. I can always grief hardcast next turn anyway. Stoneforge. Okay. Where's the Hushbringers at? Black card 1 time here. Thoughtseize. Yeah, I don't know what else. Those are the only things I could think of. Black card. All right. Cool. So I probably want to go ahead and just use Grief with the Bone Shards and then bring Archon. When this happens, I'd probably get rid of the Solitude. Because I think I can fight through a Solitude with this Archon. That's what I think. We'll see if that plays out how I think it will. So Voke happens here. We get a Peeky Peeky. Can I beat this? I think so, because the Archon gets rid of the Stoneforge. So I take the Solitude and I battle Yorion here. We're going to fetch Shock here. Or just fetch. I guess I can just fetch. That way I have double white, double black. Persist Archon here. This gets rid of probably the Cauldron Complete. We'll see. Well, Cauldron's not coming in because the Stoneforge dies. And now I have this card as well. It's a good way to protect. Only if I die, though. Looks like Yorion's going to show up here. It's really not the scariest thing for them to be doing. Cycles Horizon Canopy, looking for ways to get rid of Archon here. Horizon Canopy played. Cycles again, panicking. Concedes. Oh yeah, good concession. Draw for the turn, draw, get to Ephemerate, protect. Solid. Too powerful? I'm not ready to claim it's too powerful. Now that, to me, right there, was a great example of not the crazy Ephemerate, rebirth, grief turns, but rather, hey, let's hold out, then I can use grief to clear and then persist my creature. If my opponent got an endurance during that time, if they got another way to just bounce or get rid of my creature, definitely could have done something. But that was kind of like a more expensive wait time for the Thoughtseize, and then getting to do it for free definitely paid off. All right, opponent's Luris based here. I have an unmarked grave. I have a Thoughtseize. What's interesting for me here is I probably could keep this hand. The problem is I don't have a way to reanimate something. But 2 Collective Brutalities could be very good against certain Luris lists. So I'm going to try it. This one's a little bit out there for the trying, but we're learning. I think I just shock in here. Fetch shock and just do a Thoughtseize. So there's quite a few things I could top deck that are not bad. I know that puts me behind just slightly because this ETB's tapped. All right, we're rewarded immediately because there's a Sigarda's Aid, which is probably what I want to get rid of here. Inkmoth is going to be a little bit of a problem. I guess that's what the Ashen Rider's for. Endurance is definitely a very good card. It's exceptionally good for green to have that kind of way to get rid of graveyards. I need to try it out in Green Devotion at some point. Basic planes here, and the Esper Sentinel. Excellent. Untapped lands, great here. I think I'm still going to put this... Do I? Man, do I go for this? That makes them draw. Let's not make my opponent draw here. Let's try to keep their draws to a minimum. This does not run a Vindicate. We've played a list where we play Furies and Solitudes, and the amount of card disadvantage that ends up resulting in is just almost too excessive. I would not suggest that. The Priest goes along with the plan. You can grind out by just getting you can just get Griefs back. It's a new card. Didn't have that before. Stoneforge as well. All right, my opponent's putting things together. Personally, I would almost splash a different color and go more mid-range before I would even touch the concept of getting rid of Priest. Gonna kill the Esper Sentinel. I don't really want them to draw cards. I'm kind of really far behind it in this game. And that is due to, obviously, our hand we kept. If I top deck a Persist, though, I can unmark Grave and Persist it, which is nice. A little Ornithopter. I can pitch the Archon now. I could put a Sarah's in the graveyard too with the unmarked grave here, which is probably what I need to be doing. We know everything my opponent has currently. So it's hard to do this for 2 modes. Oh, non-legendary card. I could put in Burial Rites. You're right. You're right. So 2 modes here. I guess we'll... I don't need to repeak. I know everything. Let's kill Ornithopter. I was thinking this is just for creatures, but I could... I mean, what's funny is it would be so much better probably to put Sarah into the graveyard and just hope to draw Persist or them Burial Rites. But I could put that on Burial Rites in here. That's why the whole library comes up. That's why. It at least gives me a play next turn, which may be necessary. I so want Sarah's, though. We'll go ahead and put on Burial, since I have 4 lands. Alright, so they're going to make a creature. They may make another creature here. We're very worried about, say, Sigarda's Aid at this point. My opponent has enough planes to play Luris. We do have an Ink Moth that's worrisome here as well. In terms of the 1-drop that they're probably going to get, it's probably, in my opinion, going to be Grafdigger's Cage, assuming they have it main board. If it's a Grafdigger's main board, we're kind of in trouble. This is going to be one of those that we probably swap over here because of the Urza Saga. Still have the griefs and stuff, but right here is where I think we lose this game. And we can't steal an Urza Saga. So grief wouldn't have helped us if we had a better hand. A faster creature out of our graveyard would help, though. Now here comes Grafdigger's Cage. I'm almost certain of it. Grafdigger's Cage, Plains played, maybe Pithy Needle thrown out just for fun to make the construct bigger. It'll be a 4, so we get hit for 5, 1 Stoneforge, 4 from construct. It seems like the play. I'll be very lucky if my opponent lets us on Burial here. The fact that it's taking some time makes me think that they do not have Grafdigger's Cage. Which would be good. Yeah, Springleaf Drum. All right, extra artifact here that they can play something else. So we play the Plains here. I'm still thinking this Pithy Needle shows up, maybe off this to make these bigger. Nope, nothing. All right. In for 4 instead of 5 or 6. Land here is okay, because then I could do some ephemerating with the Archon. Oh, another Stoneforge. Shadow Spear is a good one. Shadow Spear is a good one. All right, we do hit the lands. Gonna play that. We're gonna go ahead and Burial. Archon. Does make them discard 1 thing here. Kill a creature. It's kind of nice to have a 6/6 instead of a 5/5. Stoneforge down. Now I can block. Get my creature back. So this is interesting. Land for my opponent. So it's... Am I missing something? Oh, they ditched the Pithy Needle. All right, so 4/4 Shadow Spear. They attach this. Makes it a 5/5. They're going to make it a 6/6. What's interesting here is I think I can come close to killing here, this creature. They put 1 more in, the Colossus Hammer. They're just going to go for it here. Combat has been initiated. So we know it's a Colossus Hammer. I'm blocking here. We're trading, and I get to do the Rebirth. Maybe we're not trading. Oh, Ink Moth. That's fine. We block most of the damage. And then when they go to sacrifice, it has to be the Stoneforge Mystic. And we'll get rid of this last hammer. Okay. Not the worst, not the worst. Because we get rid of the hammer. We get rid of a creature. I attack. We get rid of another creature. I ephemerate. We get rid of another one. They get rid of the Ink Moth. So the Ink Moth dying means that they lose their creature here. Now I just attack, right? Wow. Wow, they needed to kill this, not the Ink Moth. Now I'm really far into this game. Whoosh. In goes Archon. Just discard a card. Kill the last construct. I feel like I just leave Ephemerate up. Because then at end step, if they play anything or whatever, I just Ephemerate this and then a swing and kill. Yeah, they sacked their Ink Moth. I think I was fine, especially drawing Bone Shards. Because I swing, I Bone Shards, I Ephemerate this. I was going to probably kill everything anyway. Yeah, look at that. We good. We good. Hit you for 3. All right. So... Kaya doesn't look bad. Prismatic Endings don't look bad to kill things. This is where Grafdigger's Cage is going to be a problem, so that's why I don't know if I want to do Stoneforge or not. Bring an Ashen Rider in. Continue on trying to get rid of their graveyard. We have Kaya's Guile. We have a lot that I'm very interested in. They bring in like a Rip versus a Grafdigger's Cage. That's not going to happen. It's going to be Cage. I have no way to kill a Cage other than like reanimating this. I have to steal the Cage, but that's not going to happen. I can reanimate this to prevent a Urza's from going and getting it. Seems sketchy. I think Prismatic Ending's my best bet here to get rid of the Cage if I want to stay on this plan. So the question is the Stoneforge Mystic package going to do it or not? I don't think it is. Let's look at this package. Sarah seems fine. I can get rid of an Archon here. I can get rid of 2 Priests, probably 2 Collective Brutalities, 1 Knight's Whisper. So then I have just a bunch of removal here, and then I still have my package of reanimation, which is probably okay. I kind of just want to take the 2 Priests out. Just like, they're not going to stop much. If something's flying or whatever, it's not what I want to do on turn 2. Turn 2 is probably like, get something in the graveyard if they haven't gotten Cage. Or persist something out of the graveyard. It's probably not play creature to maybe get something later and twiddle our thumbs. Prismatic Ending's nice to have here. I have this Emissary. I almost want to just keep and go to discard. I'm going to play the ridiculous line. Keep, potentially go to discard here. And see if the Sarahs can come out. And then the Prismatic Ending's there for the Cage. And if I can get Sarahs out on creature, we're probably okay. When it does nothing turn 1. Pass turn. I'm going to play way behind here. But I think it might actually put us way ahead. Cool. My opponent's like, sure. Okay, I can deal with that. We're going to put this into play sideways, pass turn. Can deal with that. We're good so far. It's an interesting one to be bringing in. Huh. It's not what I expected. We have an answer for it, though. Sentinel. Top deck of land, I might Prismatic Ending this. Stoneforge. Opponent's got a lot of creatures out. Maybe I Prismatic Ending this, hoping that I get a persist here. No persist, but a third land's good. So I have to hit this. Hit this, hope for the best. Cancel. What is this stopping? Your opponents can't cast spells from anywhere other than their hand. So it just stops on burial rites, right? Persistent on Mark Grave, just throw things here. Maybe I Prismatic Ending. What do we get? A hammer? Maybe I Prismatic Ending the Esper Sentinel. Well, it's a little bit of a big deal, I suppose. If I get something that throws this to the graveyard next turn, I'd want this dead. I'm going to continue to play a little bit odd here. We'll get rid of the Esper Sentinel so my opponent doesn't draw cards here, and just hope they don't have the wombo combo of Sigarda's Aid plus Hammer plus Inky. Frogs are pretty cool. What about Toads, though? Are Toads cool? Inky's been booted. Bonus Inky. There's the Sigarda's Aid. All right, so they had the Sigarda's Aid, the Ink Moth, all this. I don't believe there's anything I could have done here. This is not at instant speed. This makes me feel more comfortable keeping the package in, though. This line's fine because if they were to put, say, like, only Hammer or something down and try to, like, attach it, maybe I could Kaya's. So I like Kaya still. I think I can drop one Prismatic Ending to bring in like Collective Brutality. Maybe another Collective Brutality instead of Night's Whisper. You're gonna go play Paper Magic? You don't have to leave the stream up. I think I want this Prismatic Ending. I think that's... I'm being silly by trying to do that. Maybe one less Guile. Actually, why not just get rid of the Night's Whisper? We're not going to have a lot of time in this game, right? This, I'm on the play. Ephemerate, Sarah's Emissary. Yeah. I like this. All right. We'll be on the play. Gotta look for those busted hands, right? Let's play first. It's not busted. All right. We gotta keep it because I got ways to remove 2 creatures. My opponent has 3 or 4 creatures. And if I'm able to get like an unmarked grave or just a creature in general to pitch, then the Collective Brutality is looking strong. Okay. So now random Ephemerate. go ahead and discard a card here. Esper Sentinel discarding. I kind of want to discard the Ephemerate here. It's not that strong. Just get rid of Esper Sentinel. The Collective Brutality is probably more correct, because if my opponent plays Sigarda's Aid plus Hammer here, then I have really no way to get rid of this. But I like the idea of potentially pitching not just a creature, but also the Unburial Rites. Oh, my opponent goes straight through to the Mem Knight attacking for 1. It's not that scary. Second land here and plays a... Oh, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. I hit the token that I wanted, but now I've got a problem card here. So I need an answer to this. Playing pretty correctly here to get the Collective Brutality after. Bone Shards doesn't deal with this either. Another Sentinel. Sigarda's Aid. Uh-oh. If they go in for this, I just need exactly Prismatic Ending. I put it here. Alright, I need a Prismatic Ending off the top or I lose here. Alright. Being predominantly mono black, Sanctifier is a very good card against us. Pretty good. Don't cry, Uncle DB. Don't cry. Gonna run into problems. Are we supposed to just mull for grief? I don't know. We had the, what is it? Turn 3. Pretty much set everything up and kill one more creature. Pretty decent. Oh, this is fun. All right, I guess we're gonna keep this. This is fun. So, are you supposed to rebirth or ephemerate? I wonder. Crashing Footfalls is what we've got to beat. Okay. And there's a reanimation spell. We can't quite get this to the graveyard yet. I don't need 2 griefs, right? That's excessive. So we'll get rid of 1 grief for the other grief. What's up, Samurai Fun? And let's keep our grief in play. Maybe the Ephemerate's more correct because you'll get more uses out of it. Oh, they force. Oh, they forced. Ow! Okay. Okay. Lands. I gotta beat some lands. I keep this out, but it's like tucked behind the Cryptic that's been exiled. Need a discard spell, I guess. I need a discard spell? Island? Discard, 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 discard. Well, that's not the worst. Let's go ahead and attempt to just persist the grief here. Yeah. But. Forces. That's a bummer. Persisting the grief there lets us get the Archon, and then we can sack, play the Archon, and ephemerate it. But I guess we're not doing that. I don't want to go after their hand knowing that it's a basic mountain, so we'll just pass the turn. This is at 2 going to 1. Looking for a discard spell. Spire Bluff, mountain still in hand, unknown card. That'll work. Check for spells and gain some life. And Archon. Cool. And then pay 3 life, sack, return target creature. We're gonna return an Archon. Draw a card, we get the Ephemerate going for us. New Archon. Yeah, looks good. My opponent ditched that mountain. Wooded Foothills, an unknown card. Couple crashing rhinos coming down here. 8 power on the board. I'm going to use Ephemerate as a protection spell for Archon and just smash in for the damages. So after smashing in, I could flicker it and win. Oh, 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 oh. Tap and draw. No. No. Now I can block. And I draw. And they lose a card. And they lose Wooded. And they don't draw. I hit a land. Got a Knight's Whisper, just looking for another way to keep this one alive. We don't hit anything. We'll pass turn. Opponent needs something off the top here. We're approaching the ability to unearth this. And unearthing that's pretty good because it gains haste. That's your reanimation spell as well. So you can unearth this, you get haste, you bring this back. It's pretty good. Pretty good. So my opponent brings endurance in, I believe, in this matchup because they need to stay at 3. Yeah, that's probably what they do. So do I just ignore the graveyard and bring the Stoneforges in now? Like get rid of the priests. Bring 4 of these in, Batterskull and Cauldra. Take these out, plus 2 Knight's Whispers. Sure. Seems all right. Seems all right. Well, that's pretty good. I guess this comes up a fair amount of times. I do what? The Ephemerate here, I think is what we decided is slightly better. Now that I have an unmarked grave. Or, you know. I kind of want to still do this off Rebirth. An attempt to Ephemerate. You know, I could even check right now, then grief the second one and Ephemerate it. Let's do that. See what I'm playing against. Oh, there's Endurance. Shardless Agent, Shardless, and Violent Outburst. So what do I take here? I just take the Endurance right now. And then we just do this. Again. This got a little busted, I will say. This is mildly busted. We drew a second grief though. You know, that's like slightly cheating. I'm gonna get rid of the 2 shardlists here. And then we'll worry about the last 2 cards in my opponent's hand. I guess we'll Ephemerate here too to get rid of the Outburst. This way they don't have a blue card. If they top decked, have Force and Negation. Ooh. Little petty theft. Bouncing grief. All right. So I can either take Violent Outburst or wait. Do I wait a turn? They got to hit something kind of important here. They get to do this, I'm in trouble a little bit. So here we go. Here's an interesting line. I've done everything there. My opponent was able to petty my grief away, so they were able to interact. And now I have the option to get another grief down right now and take them out with Violent Outburst. This is probably the correct line here to exile here and not try to get fancy and wait turns, because as soon as they get a land, they make 2 rhinos. So we're going to play top deck wars with my opponent. Top deck wars it is. Let's go ahead and get that blood crypt out of there. Your move, opponent. And then anything that gets something out of the graveyard, it will stay. So, you know, it's good stuff. Top deck we go. Who's gonna find their spells? Nobody knows. 2 cards for my opponent. We'll thin our library again. Get rid of this Godless Shrine. Go, go, go. All right, opponent's found something. We got a Brazen Borrower, an Exile, and 2 unknown cards. Top deck is not helping. Not helping. No rhinos, please. We're in trouble if they have the rhinos. Uh-oh. Wow. Please be Brazen Borrower. Nope. 2 turn clock here. So my opponent finds their top deck before they find we find ours. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 mana here. I can block one of these, and I take 1 or 2 damage through. That's 6, and they can just play this. Let's go ahead and concede. All right, well, we stripped them of 6 cards or something crazy like that, but it wasn't enough. Wasn't enough. So what do we need to do to change this? Didn't have the Stoneforge package at all there. My opponent did bring in Endurance. Makes me want to cut like an Unmarked Grave, an Archon, and a Persist, and bring like 3 Prismatics in. Just ways to deal with the rhinos. And maybe not Collective Brutality, although Collective Brutality is not bad here. Let's do 1 Persist back in. No. Let's do this. Let's do this. A little bit of the Archon stuff going on. Them having the Endurance makes me want to be less on the graveyard and a little more reactionary if I need to kill some stuff. Well, if I had a way to discard this stuff, I might consider this hand. I don't believe I can keep this. I think we need to look for like a Stoneforge or something. Let's mulligan this. All right, this has just about everything I want. So keep. Get rid of put the Archon away here. Say okay. Fetch Shock. Let's go ahead and exile. I need to keep this as a land, so I have to exile Thoughtseize here. Let's tag their hand twice and see what happens. Subtlety. Not bad. Not bad. think I bottomed this now. All right. Cool. I'll take a land off the top. So Breeding Pool tapped. Untapped land would be great here. All right. I don't think I can get that greedy and try to do grief there. Maybe I'm supposed to because my opponent's getting close to the 4 mana, or sorry, the 3 mana they need. Okay, little Stone Forge with Ephemerate backup. I'm gonna get Batterskull as my first option and then work towards Cauldron Complete. That way I can get Lifelink, which was probably necessary, and then from there I can hopefully get a big creature that just bashes in. Both of these will be big enough to be okay against what my opponent's doing, I think. Let's go ahead and Ephemerate here to save this, or attempt to. Getting Cauldron Complete here and or the Batterskull in looks like a winning line. You went 0-3. Fun games, though. That's what FNM's all about. Flickering there, getting Cauldron Complete and having Batterskull with the Stone Forge. We're going to get this in an attack, hitting for 5, and my opponent gives up the game because we just have too much. We can Grief first, then Cauldron Complete in, and go from there. 3-1 with this list. Did you run into a lot of graveyard hate? Hammer Time's a little bit tough sometimes. You gotta get that quick Archon out. Start exiling lands. Have a blocker in the air. This list is proving to be pretty strong. I hate to say I'm not convinced with the Grief package just yet. We've had one game where we went crazy and all they had to do is interact with Grief. And I think that's not unrealistic to ask opponents to have something to interact with a X2. Nile Spellbomb. Yeah, Soul Guide Lantern and Grafdigger's Cage is tough. And considering they don't have big creatures, your body double out is not very strong. Oh, they had the nuts. Oh, Hammer Time can do that, though. With the list being not super quick out of the gate, sometimes that's the case. But we're getting ideas tonight. We're getting ideas to adjust or improve the list. I kind of want to make the Esper list a little more control-y and put a Soul Herder in it. You can Flicker Wisp or Vesper Lark a bunch. Be kind of fun. Oh bosh. Oh bosh. All right, we're gonna keep this. This is gonna be a fun one. Monkey. All right, Monkey. How do we want to lead on this? Because we're exiling. Let's get rid of Unburial Rites. I'm going to have Priest plus Unmarked Grave. And we're going to get a peek at what they have. I kind of want to try to get that Sarah's down. That'd be kind of fun. All right, we got a Swifty, we have a Firebolt, we have a Bone Crusher. Both of these, unfortunately, kill Priest. I guess I get rid of the Bone Crusher. It's a little harder for us to get rid of. Okay. Yorian's a consideration, but then I think you have to have a lot more items to find your win conditions. All right, in goes Ragavan here. The monkey doing the monkey things. Finds a unmarked grave. Nice. Two mana here. They're trying to cast Unmarked Grave. No, Bone Crusher. They top deck a Bone Crusher Giant. All right. We have a Firebolt and Monastery Swift Spear. I think here I'm going to go ahead and play an Unmarked Grave to get a Sarah's. We're gonna have to take this a couple turns at a time. So we're going to get a Sarah's here. Right? Or do I want to get... Maybe I get Archon here because I can gain life. Archon's probably fine because I'm going to do the Ephemerate to save this, hopefully. Then I need a gain life. Or do I want to just name creature with this with a 6/6? Then I don't care about the last creature they have. They have a Firebolt and an Obosh. Obosh, what, doubles, right? They can Bone Crusher, but they've already played two. Gaining life seems okay here. This is a 5/5. All right, I'm gonna go with the Archon. I think there's a case to trying to get the Sarah's down instead. But we're going to do this, and I'm going to have to shock in and try to protect Priest here. We just know there's one spell that can kill us. I'm expecting Swift Spear here. Choosing not to, it appears. Attacks for 6. And a 12. Top of the library was a swamp. I'll take a persist. Obosh to hand. All right, Blood Moon. This is going to be hard because we don't have a basic planes in this. Oh, no, we do. We have two. Okay. Let's see here. How do we want to approach this list? Prismatic Endings are probably fine. Batterskull. I mean, like, we just bring in, like, the life gain, right? Just forget the graveyard for the most part. Forget Unmarked Grave and Burial Rites. Sarah's. Keep 2 Archons in. Bring this stuff in. Get rid of the Night's Whisper. Get rid of 1 Ephemerate. Probably get rid of, like, a Priest. Keep a 1 of Unmarked Grave in here. Blame me, why'd you portray us? Yeah, this seems good. Keeping a little bit of the Archon of options here. We got Priest to block. A lot of things that gain us life here. A lot of things that kill creatures. Feels like some variation of what I just brought in is pretty good. Okay, we can keep this. Get the Thought Seize, it looks like. Make sure my opponent's not going to kill my Stoneforge. What do we got? Oh, snap. 3 lightning bolts. Okay. It's a lot of lightning bolts. All right, I'm going to take 1 lightning bolt and then plan a Thought Seize and probably Bone Shards. I got a Thought Seize and Bone Shards here. Mountain Blade, Soul Scar. This gives me like an opportunity to see the next card as well. I need black and then I'll get white. Let's go ahead and Thought Seize here. So we have a Lava Dart Lightning Bolts. So now I can take Swift Spear. And just Bone Shards. Getting rid of persist because I know I don't have much graveyard. They have 8 damage. I'm at a virtual 7. Ah, perfect. Relic. Are they going to play their land or not? All right, we're going to go get Batterskull. Pass the turn. My opponent's probably going to kill Stoneforge Mystic. They already played this. They had 3 bolts and a lava dart. Yeah. It's 1 lightning bolt down. Gonna go get a basic, obviously. Get rid of another Thoughtseize. They're leaving themselves with Relic open, obviously. I'll take like an Ephemerate, right? Collective Brutality, huh? I'm gonna play New Stoneforge here. This gets the bolts or lava dart out anyway. Do a nice little shuffle shuffle. Little shuffle shuffle. Instead of trying to collect the brutality the bolt away, I just do this. Because with even a lava dart, they could get rid of the Stoneforge. Opponent decides cycling Relic is the plan here. Land played. Fire bolts, Stoneforge. Okay. They happen to tap out, it'd be great for the collective brutality. Bolts. Lava dart. They're doing everything. I'm going to 6. I'm going to 4 if they decide to lava dart again. In a way, they almost should. Okay, I'm at 6. I'm going to just gain life here. There's a lot of things that kill us, and there's no reason to try to pitch something here while we're working up to Batterskull because they have Lava Dart. All right. I suppose I want to land. Blood Moon. That's fine. Does give them a prowess trigger. Down to 6 I go again. Land. Land, 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 land. Batterskull. And it was a basic swamp. All right, we got a 4/4. Now they can shrink this with the Soulscar Mage, so we'll see how much shrinking they do here. Land has been played. What are we doing? Obosh to hand. Okay. Take a Grief off the top. Does my opponent attack? The answer should be no. Combat. Swing for it. Gain some life. I'm gonna hold on to this card. Make it look like I've got a card that's of value in my hand here. My opponent slams Obosh, it looks like. You can always replay the Batterskull, which is probably what I'll need to be doing. I just want to gain life, guys. I just want to gain life. Do 2 here. Obosh is scary. Obosh is scary. Opponent does not do anything here. Okay. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, and then 1, 2, 3. I think I've got to just leave myself back on defense here, because if I attack, this kills me, right? Yeah. I kind of have to hope that Batterskull remains around for a block, rather than swing in here, lose this, and then get Lava Darted plus all of this damage. Top deck lands. Love it. I love it. Makes sense, though. Firebolt. This does kill my creature. Am I dead here? I missed the Firebolt. So I go to 8. This is 6 and 6, 12. All right. You got me. You got me, oh Bosh. Blood Moon twice in a row. 3-2 overall. Not bad, though, for a first outing with the list. Got a little goofed up there with what I could fetch that was planes in match number 1. List is strong. Maybe I don't keep the right hands. We, what, did Grief, Ephemerate, and another Grief or something, and still ended up losing that game. Opponent just had to interact with our creature once. And I think the big reason to play this list and why people were asking me about it was I have people already telling me this should be banned, and I don't think that's true. Yes, Grief, Ephemerate, and this Rebirth is pretty strong. So this little package here, let's get rid of the bone shards. This little package here is definitely very strong. The card disadvantage does matter, and unless you have the other piece to the puzzle here, it can be tough. Were there games that it definitely won us something? For sure, for sure. I still think it's a little less consistent than people think. And I think what you're ending up seeing for those that are calling for it to be banned is that you're just seeing that higher end variance that your opponents are getting kind of all of this together. With the meta being so low to the ground, I think most lists should have a way to interact with a X2. It's a little bit tough, obviously, on the play because you don't have any mana down, but I don't think this combination is ban worthy. Does the Green Devotion list stand a chance in Modern? Gideon's Daemonic Pact is pretty dead, Uncle DB. That's it's unfortunately way too slow. The Grief, though, Black-White Reanimator, this definitely has some power behind it. I think with a little more practice, I would know what I should be keeping, what I shouldn't be keeping, and what I could be going and fetching with Unmarked Grave, considering Unburial Rites and other cards that are not creatures can be put in the graveyard. Maybe there's something else that I would like to get in the graveyard other than, say, that Unburial or the creature. I like the Stoneforge package. A little awkward because you're kind of guessing at how much your opponent's going to attack your graveyard, but if you feel pretty confident they're going to go after it, it's pretty easy swap outs. You're looking at things like Persist, Priest, Archon, and Sarah's, even the Unburial Rites, and you can bring Stoneforges in, Kaya's, and Batterskulls. You basically can make a 180. Kind of a go into black-white, not quite tokens, but black-white Stoneforge, black-white Blade. List is cool, though. Got a 5-0 from Bob and Cheese. Didn't get it here, but it was fun.